But here's the point that we really need to understand about fake news and the election, fake news and the election. The most rigorous research to date, new research, indicates it had absolutely no impact at all on the outcome. That might seem counterintuitive, but the research says no impact, no statistically valid impact. Stanford researchers who conducted this study, just released last month, have been studying issues of social media distribution of false information for years. They have a context for this. The study is a very valid one. What they found was that voters overwhelmingly recognized fake news when they saw it, regardless of who they supported. They saw it, they knew it was fake. They might share it, but they knew it was fake. Those inclined to believe that Clinton was Satan reimagined appreciated the fake news, but it's not going to influence their vote. They were already anti-Clinton. They were going to vote against her anyway. And her supporters didn't believe it in the first place. It didn't change their point of view. So in terms of the election, it had virtually no impact. Since the election, social media platforms, tech giants, news organizations, government at some level, all of these organizations have been working to develop mechanisms for identifying and stemming the flow of fake news and to remove the financial incentive. Some of the fakers who made the most money have lost those revenue streams because, modest though they might be, efforts on the part of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook have taken away some of that revenue stream. So my belief is that this discussion of fake news in a serious context is really not going to be that significant down the road. That this issue is going to become secondary to some of the other things that are going on. But it's something we talk about, and it's important. As a journalist, of course, it just hits at the core of who I am. So here's the second leg of the stool. Real news and the post-factual world. These connect eventually. So people tend to recognize fake news for what it is. But why, when they're confronted by the real thing, are people disinclined to accept the truth? This is a puzzlement that is driving a lot of our observers, political observers, really quite insane. Why do lies, particularly the incessant, repetitive misstatements, mistruths, outright lies that come from Washington, D.C., primarily from the administration, why do those lies have legs, even after fact checkers have done their job and pointed out their absolute total falsity? Why do people persist in believing it? Why do the president's backers believe this stuff? And how can journalism, which is committed to the conveyance of truth, how can it manage in a world where the truth just carries no weight with a good chunk of our population? Now again, I turn to research. I teach about media bias, about confirmation bias, and science can explain a great deal of this, sadly. Why some people hang on to the lie even when confronted by incontrovertible fact. Our brains are wired in such a way that we simply don't listen as well. In many cases, we don't listen at all to ideas that contradict our most deeply held beliefs. It just goes right through. So our core values and beliefs, the things that really define who we are, when we are confronted by information that contradicts that, we are less likely to absorb it. We're less likely to remember it. We're less likely to give it value. That's the way our brains work. At the same time, research shows that when confronted by information that confirms our beliefs, we accept it readily, even if it comes from a sketchy source. This is just as important as the first element of brain science. It means that when we are receiving a false message, even though it's incontrovertibly false, if it confirms our beliefs in our memories as we absorb this message, even though it might come from a sketchy source, we will misattribute it to a source with more credibility in our minds. So if the president says something false over and over and over again, and people know he's doing this, in their minds, if it confirms their existing beliefs, they will attribute it to Fox News. And so when somebody asks them, where did you hear this, where does this come from, they'll say it's a Fox News story, or MSNBC, or whoever. They'll attribute it to a more reliable source of information, where all Fox News might have done is simply echo the lie as part of their fair and balanced news report. So it goes from sketchy source to confirmed reliable source in our own minds. We don't accept information we don't agree with, and information that confirms our beliefs has a higher value in our brains. Now, clearly, human beings haven't developed this skill set suddenly. Evolution doesn't work this way. We've always had these wiring tendencies. But when you think about the context in which we're operating, over the last 15 years or so, say roughly the election of George Bush over Al Gore, as a society we have really divided ourselves, our beliefs are more polarized than ever before, and we have established ferocious personal commitments to different points of view. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the right or the left, that's true of all of us. And so as we have established these ferocious viewpoints within ourselves, the tendency of our brains to filter information is more clear-cut than it's been in our political life before. So, science tells us what's going on. It also offers some possible approaches and solutions based on current research. There are ways facts might begin to break through. Facts that contradict your own deeply held beliefs. But journalists will play essentially no role in that. Journalistic fact-checking plays no role because we have no credibility. We're limited credibility. Research released just today, from the Royal Society of Britain, their Open Science Forum. So brand new research I just saw late this afternoon tells us this: if you are a Trump supporter, you are more likely over time to be persuaded to accept the truth if the fact-checking comes from within the Trump universe. So if Donald Trump or Stephen Bannon were to apologize and correct, that might resonate with the folks who've accepted the lie. Republicans, who maybe get tired eventually of the circus, maybe think, would have a better shot at convincing other Republicans and like-minded conservatives and Trump supporters of the truth. But journalists, because we have so little credibility within that environment, our fact-checking has no impact at all, according to research. We can fact-check till the cows come home, and it won't affect those people who believe what they've heard. It won't affect it at all. Now, we do know that between the lack of credibility in the press fact-checking and the Trump universe correcting itself, there might be an opportunity for neutral, non-partisan organizations to have some effect. Maybe not as great an effect as we would like. And this is something I think the League has an opportunity to maybe take on a nonpartisan role to help sort out facts somewhat more credible in these circles than the press. So, truth in this world is really a function of our brains and our perception and our deeply held beliefs. And the other thing that the Royal Society said today is that even as people understand the difference between what they're hearing and fact, even when the fact gets through, it has absolutely no effect on voting behavior. None whatsoever. So the people who supported Donald Trump based on misstatements and lies, even if they accept the fact that these are misstatements and lies, are not going to change their political action. They're not going to change their vote. And I need to note that these same qualities apply to people on the other end of the political spectrum. Right? They're polarized. The same qualities apply to all of us in a different way. So that's my second leg of the stool. It's why facts don't seem to have the power they once had. My business, which has always been in the business of generating facts, doesn't have the power it once had. So here's the third one. This is this concept of fake news weaponized by our president. That term, I borrowed that term, probably stole that term from the Washington Post. I saw it in the Post a couple days ago, but it perfectly explains what's going on. Press credibility measurements have been dropping consistently for more than 3 decades. Every year, when I show the studies to my students, we've hit a new low in terms of press credibility. Now, all institutions have lost ground in credibility measures, but journalism in particular has taken a hit over the last 30 years. And our credibility measures now are near the bottom. Congress is lower. We're now lower than the proverbial, pardon if there's anyone in the audience in this field, but we're lower than the proverbial used car salesman in terms of credibility and trust in the United States. This is ongoing, 30-year training. So, that's one reason that our fact-checking has no credibility with large portions of our population, especially on the more extreme left and certainly on the more extreme right.